Alright, so this lesson is on multiplying a polynomial by a monomial. So for your igniter, simplify the following. So take a minute, give this a try. When we're doing this, that negative sign or the subtraction sign is like a -1, and the addition sign is like a +1 or a +1. So we need to distribute those to get rid of the parentheses. Okay, it follows the order of operations just like we normally would. So because there's nothing outside the first set of parentheses, that just stays the same. Then I need to distribute the -1 to that set of parentheses. So when I distribute to the 3x squared, it gives me -3x squared. Then I distribute to -8. -1 times -8x is +8x. -1 times +2 is -2. So now I'm done with that set of parentheses. Now I need to distribute the +1. This won't change any signs. So +1 times x is still x. +1 times 1 is still 1. Now I need to look for any like terms. So the first like terms I have are 6x squared and -3x squared. Both of these have an x squared, so I just simplify their coefficients. 6 minus 3 gives me a +3. The next like terms I have are 2x, 8x, and 1x. So I add all of those together. 2 plus 8 plus 1 is 11, and that variable is x. Then I'm left with -9 minus 2 and +1. -9 minus 2 is -11, plus 1 is -10. That is my final answer. I do not have any repeated variables, so I am good to go. So that was our igniter. That should have been a review from adding and subtracting polynomials from yesterday. Now we're going to learn how to multiply a polynomial by a monomial and solve equations involving the products of monomials and polynomials. So all of these things we've done before, they're just going to look a little different because we're going to have a few more variables than we're used to. So first we're going to multiply a polynomial by a monomial. So again, I have these parentheses, so I need to distribute the 2x to the two terms inside my parentheses. So first I distribute to 6x squared. So 2x times 6x squared gives me 12x cubed. Okay, this is using the power, the exponent powers and exponent rules that we learned in 7.1 and 7.2. So if you need to refresh those, you can do that. Then I distribute to -3x. So 2x times -3x is -6x squared. I double check to make sure I do not have any like terms, which I do not, so that is my final answer. Example B, I need to distribute the 6y. So I distribute to 4y squared. That gives me 24y cubed. I distribute to -9y. That gives me -54y squared. And then distribute to -7, which gives me -42y. Again, double checking to see if there are any like terms. There are no like terms, so that is my answer. Now see, I want you guys to try this one on your own. So pause the video and then you can play it to double check your answer. So first I'm going to distribute the 3t to all those three terms in the first set of parentheses. So when I multiply by 2t squared, I get 6t cubed. Then I multiply to -4t and I get -12t squared. Then I multiply to -15 and I get -45t. Now I need to distribute with my 6t to the second set of parentheses. Because that's addition, I'm distributing a +6t. So I have +6t times 5t, which gives me a +30t squared. So I put my addition sign. And when I distribute to 2, that gives me 12t. Now I'm checking for any like terms. I do have some in this problem. t cubed, that is the only term I have with t cubed, so I'm just going to copy that down. Then I have negative 12t squared plus 30t squared, which gives me a positive 18t. Then I have negative 45t plus 12t is a negative 33t. Now if I double check my variables, I have no like terms, so that is my final answer there. Now we're going to look at solving equations with polynomials. We've done this before. The only difference now is that we're going to need to do some distributing, and there might be a few more terms than we're used to. So first I'm going to start with A. I'm going to first simplify the left-hand side. So we're not even going to worry about the right-hand side right now. So I need to first distribute B to those two terms inside my parentheses. So B times 12 is 12B. Then I distribute and I get B times B, which is B squared. And negative 7 is outside, so that just stays negative 7. I need to double check and make sure that I don't have any like terms there, which I do not, so I can move on to the next side. 2B is outside the parentheses, so that we just copy down. Then I need to distribute B to my parentheses. So B times negative 4 is negative 4B. B times B is B squared. Now I need to check the right side for any like terms. We already said I don't have any on the left side, but I do have some on the right side. I have 2B and negative 4B. They both have B to the first power. So I copy down the left-hand side because we didn't have any like terms. I combine those terms on the right-hand side, so that gives me negative 2B and then plus B squared. Now that each side is simplified separately, I can start rearranging terms because I want to solve, which means I want B by itself. So I have a B squared on each side, so I'm going to subtract B squared, and they both happen to cancel out. So I'm left over with 12B minus 7 from the left-hand side, and that's going to equal negative 2B. I now have these two terms with just a B in them. So I'm going to subtract 12B from both sides. They cancel on the left, so I end up with negative 7 equals negative 14B. I'm trying to solve for the B variable, so I divide both sides by negative 14, and that simplifies to a positive 1/2, and that equals B. I now have B by itself, so that's my final answer. I want you guys to pause the video and try B on your own, and then go ahead and play and double check your work. Again, we need to work with each side of the equation separately, and then we can start to work with both. So first I'm going to look at the left-hand side. I need to distribute negative x to that first set of parentheses. So negative x times x is negative x squared. Negative x times 2 is negative 2x. And I'm done with that set. Now I need to distribute negative 2x to that set of parentheses. So negative 2x times x is negative 2x squared. Negative 2x times negative 3 gives me a positive 6x. There's nothing in parentheses with 10, so that just stays at plus 10. Now I need to double check for any like terms. I do have two terms that have x squared, so I can combine those to give me negative 3x squared. I also have two terms with just an x, so I combine those to give me 4x. 10 does not have any like terms, so we just copy that down. Now that all my like terms are combined, I can look at the right-hand side. I need to distribute my 3x, so 3x times negative x, negative 3x squared. 3x times 5 is a positive 15x. Double checking for any like terms, I do not have any on the right-hand side, so I can just go ahead and copy that down. Now that each side is simplified, I can go ahead and move terms to start solving for my variable, which is x in this problem. I have x squareds on both sides, so I add 3x squared to the left, that cancels. Add 3x squared to the right, that cancels as well. So from the left-hand side, I have 4x plus 10. From the right-hand side, I have 15x. I now have these two terms that have an x in them. So I subtract 4x from the left, which cancels, and I subtract 4x from the right. Now I can simplify. I'm left over with 10 from the left-hand side and 11x from the right. I need to solve for x, so I divide by 11 to the right, divide by 11 to the left, and I get 10/11 equals x. X is now by itself, so that is my final answer.